Great. Welcome. So this is our last class. I feel like we've covered some good grounds with yoga and the body and the grief, and hopefully some little tidbits on how you can start to manage the grief and the feelings that come with that, just to make your days a little bit easier, hopefully. So today we're going to focus on a little bit more freedom, like freedom within the body, freedom within the mind. And the little intention that I'm going to leave you with at the beginning of class is the question of, what have you learned from your loved ones, either that you've lost or loved ones that are here with you still? And then what legacy did they leave on you? And how can you start to live on that legacy? So just maybe close your eyes here as you sit in your chair. And as you start to settle in, you start to think about that legacy. Just think of one great thing of that loved one that brought out the best in you and themselves and in others. And hold on to that piece as you go through this practice to start to find some more freedom. So as your eyes are closed, or you can just have a soft gaze towards the floor if that's more comfortable. Start to check in with the breath. Settling down the mind in the busy day. Settling the body from a busy day. Coming into more of a restful practice. See if you can start to send that breath down towards the belly. And even into the pelvic floor. Letting the pelvic floor relax and move with the breath a little bit. The deeper we can start to send that breath, the lower in the body, the more we're going to get out of that anxious or depressed state. Letting that one legacy stick with your mind if the mind starts to wander at all through the practice. If it starts to drift what you have to do tomorrow or tonight to get ready for bed, let that be the piece that brings you back to focus and this practice. And as you say here, you can just start to drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. Noticing how that feels in the left neck area along the left shoulder. And then easy does it, you can come back up. You can either keep the eyes closed if that feels good, or that soft gaze, and then back down towards the left shoulder. This time, notice how the right side of the neck feels, feeling that length that you get, and then back up. One or two more times. Drop the left ear, and back up. Taking it slow. Eventually we're going to go to the other side, so this time you can drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. Noticing any tension that you might be holding back to center. And taking this side a couple times. Maybe one side is able to get down towards the shoulder a little bit more with less pull. We're just warming up, so don't force anything. Just notice where that limit is. Then maybe go back and forth a couple times. Pausing at the center. Good. Eventually meeting back at center. And this time we're gonna shrug, let's do the left shoulder. We're gonna shrug the left shoulder up towards the ear. So you can either have your left hand resting on your thigh or hanging down at the side. And you're just gonna let that shoulder ride up like it's going up the elevator, up towards the ceiling, up towards the ear. And you're getting that same effect. It's shortening that left side between the shoulder and the neck, but you're getting the shoulder muscles involved this time. I just noticed my right shoulder wanted to come along for the ride. So I'm gonna ask it to just sit back down. Maybe something else is happening in your body besides just the left shoulder. And back down. Noticing how far you can release this left shoulder as it goes down and what the limit is when it comes up. Taking that one more time. We'll go to the other side. Good. Moving to the right shoulder, up the elevator. Like if you're have a glass pane in front of you and behind you, it's just going straight up in between that glass. And easy does it back down. Taking it 2 more times. And then we're going to combine the 2 movements of the neck and the shoulder. So let's go back over to the left side. So you're going to drop the left ear towards the shoulder and shrug the shoulder up towards the ear. And so the shoulder and the ear might meet or be close to meeting. And then as slowly as you can, bring the head back up to center and the shoulder drops back down. Feeling that release, like the tension is starting to melt away. Letting the release be complete before you start again. And taking that 2 more times at your own pace. Left ear comes down, left shoulder comes up. Feeling that contraction, the tension. And then the tension starts to fade as you let go. That shoulder down, the head comes up. Let's come into the other side. Right shoulder comes up, right ear goes down towards the shoulder. Feeling that contraction. You can come into it as tight as you please. And then shoulder comes back down, head comes back to center. The slower you take it, the more mindful you are, the more release you're gonna get. So those muscles are like a yawn. So it's like that sweet yawn in the morning when you stretch and you feel that let go. Good. 2 more times. We're gonna come into cat-cow, or like that arch and flatten in our chair. Just a quick little jiffy. So I like to scoot to the edge of my chair. My feet are flat on the ground. And you can come into either. We've done this every class, I think. I'm just gonna turn so you can see me. So let's just come into the arch first. So you're gonna roll the pelvis so that the sit bone rolls back, creating that little arch in your low back. If you have your hands on your hips, the hips are coming forward towards the knees, and the shoulders are gonna come towards the back line. Hips come back to center, shoulders come back to neutral, and then go ahead and tuck the pelvis, sit bones roll forward, and if you have your hands on your hips, the hips are rolling away from the knees. Shoulders come inward. And you just take that cat-cow or the arch and flatten as it feels good in your body. Big or small, fast or slow. Getting into some of those little like nooks and crannies that maybe don't get a whole lot of attention otherwise. Good. Coming back to neutral when you're ready. Staying at the edge of the seat. We're going to start to lift our arms a little bit and come into a back bend. If you have back problems like a herniated disc or something that's going to limit the back bend, I want you to be conscious of that and do what your doctor recommends. If you should not do back bends, you can just come into the arm movements, okay? So if you're following me, you can go ahead and lift the arms up overhead and then get to that limit of where you might feel that back start to arch a little bit, and pause there right before that moment. And then you can start to lift the arms a little bit more and consciously go into a back bend. So we're going into that arch, like the cow. And for me, when I come into that back bend, my hips are rolling forward. I have the arch in my low back, and it's a back bend. And maybe it feels good to keep the gaze straight out front, or maybe you want to lift the chin just slightly. And then arms lower, spine and hips come back to neutral. Arms can rest on the thighs. And then let's do it again. So we need these like back muscles to be mobile and strong so that we can stand upright and we can move and not be so tight up front. So as we start to strengthen the back muscles coming into this back bend, see if you can feel those muscles tightening along the spine. I notice when I come into my back bend, I want to hold my breath. And so if you're holding your breath, don't go as far as the back bend. Maybe you don't lift the arms as big and you just come into like a cactus or goalpost arms, and that makes the breath easier. Keeping that breath present in the low belly. One more time for this back bend. Sometimes it feels good to open up the heart area, letting it shine. Good. Okay. Staying at your seat, we're going to come into a little bit of a side curl. So let's see, I'll stay forward on you. Okay, so my arms are going to be down by my side, and I'm going to reach my right hand down towards the floor. And I'm going to feel this contraction on my right side. So the right side is getting shorter. On the left side, I feel it getting longer, like a little yawn for those muscles on the left side. And then come back up. And as you go back into this, you can feel this right shoulder start to dip down a little bit, doing the opposite movement of when it was coming up towards the ear. Back up. 2 more times. And last one. Taking it to the other side. Left hand dips down towards the floor. You feel that left shoulder go down instead of up. As you come into this left side, the left side feels short. This right side gets a nice yawn, opening up those muscles. Maybe you can start to tune into the muscles between the ribs. Allowing that space to open up in the ribs for an easier breath. And tick-tock back and forth between right and left. Being curious if there's a movement or a place in your body that the breath is held in the ribs. And if it is, just pause there for a moment. Lean into it a little bit more. And ease your way out of it. Good. Okay. We're going to come into a little bit more of a classic yoga series, but we're going to stay in our chair for this first one, and then we can try it standing. But I still want you to be mindful. So I'm going to take it slower than a typical yoga class, probably. But just see if you can stay with me. It's going to be a little bit faster than the movements we've done. So you're going to go ahead and lift the arms up. Exhale, bring the hands down by your side, and you're going to fold forward at the hips, keeping the spine straight. The hands can come down towards the feet. Bring the shoulders back so that the spine is straight, and then sit back up. Good. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, bending at the hips. Spine stays long, and then you can start to round the spine forward, bring the hands towards the feet. Take an inhale, bring the shoulders towards the back line, engaging the shoulders. The spine comes to neutral, and you rise up, lifting the arms overhead. As you lift the arms either straight up or in cactus pose, you can take that back bend. And then bring the hands back to prayer. Okay, so this is like a sun salutation, is what it's called. If you haven't done yoga before. And it's just opening the heart up a little bit and saying hello to the sun. So inhale, lift the arms up. Fold forward, keep the spine straight as long as you can, and then you can round through the spine, drop the head, hands come down towards the ground. This is a forward fold. Inhale, bring the shoulders back, spine is straight, and then you can sit up tall, lift the arms above the head. As the arms lift above the head, you come into a little back bend, and then the hands come to prayer at the chest. You can do this again seated. I'm going to do it standing this time. If you want to, you can join me, or you can stay seated. So if you're standing or sitting, that's the same thing. Inhale, lift the arms up above the head. Exhale, you're coming to a forward fold. You're going to bend at the hips, keep the spine straight as long as you can, and then consciously round through the spine, drop the head, drop the hands, forward fold. The next breath, you bring the shoulders back like you're going to put them in your back pocket. Spine is neutral. And you sit back up. Sweeping the hands up towards the ceiling, coming into a back bend. Good. Hands come back to prayer, spine is straight. Let's do it one more time. So if you're standing, you can get a chance to do it again. You inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Spine stays straight as long as it can. And then you round like a string of pearls, letting it fall down. Bring the shoulders back to the back pocket. Spine is neutral. And then you lift up all the way, either hands in cactus or up above the head. Do a back bend. Bring the hands to prayer. So this is a little bit more like freedom in the body, right? You're flowing. It's more organic and movement. And hopefully it just allows that like movement to carry on through your day, like with walking, running, whatever you may be doing. Okay. If you're still sitting in your chair, you can go ahead and come up to a standing pose. And we're going to work on coming to chair pose. So you don't need to move that chair too far away if that feels comfortable for you. But okay. So I'm going to have my feet coming straight out of my hips because that's comfortable for me. You can either have them straight out or slightly wider. I would not recommend feet together, like your legs zipped up together, because that's a little more difficult for your balance. And then maybe close the eyes here. Check back in with that little legacy. The mind has drifted, and notice the breath. And then notice where the pelvis is at here. Maybe you place one hand on the front, below the belly button, and one hand on the low back, tailbone. Just to get a sense for that tailbone, or for the pelvis. And from here, we're gonna come into a modified like chair pose. So I'm just gonna turn to the side so you can see me. You can either keep your hands here at the pelvis, or to offset the balance, you can bring the arms out in front of you. And keeping the weight in the balls of the foot and the heel, you're gonna start to sit back, letting the bum towards the ground, just as it is comfortable. And then back up. If you have the chair still by you, you're more than welcome to come down and tap that chair, or rest in that chair at the bottom, and then come back up. Doing this just 1 or 2 more times at your own pace. So you're gonna come back to the heels and the ball of the foot, go down, either rest in the chair or tap, and then back up. Letting this be a fluid motion. Good. Okay. Feel good with that? Okay. If you have a wall, you can either use the wall for this next pose, or you can turn your chair around so that the tall part of the chair is facing you. We're gonna come into a modified downward dog. So I'm sure if you've done a yoga class, you know what downward dog is, or if you've seen any like yoga magazines or poses. I'm just gonna show you. This is downward dog. Okay. And we're just gonna do a version of it and get the same effect using the chair or the wall. So you can go ahead and either grab onto the back of your chair or have your hands placed at the wall. And as you're here, I want you to start to walk your feet back to a comfortable place for the shoulders and the back of the legs. The goal is here to eventually get to a 90-degree angle where the torso and the legs are at the 90-degree angle. That is very difficult to do considering how tight your hamstrings are or how tight the shoulders and the spine is. So go to a comfortable place that you can just relax here. In your downward dog. And then walk the feet back in. But this is the same movement in the hips as your forward fold that we did when we were in our chair doing that sun salutation. As you're folding forward, it's a forward fold. So hands are either on the wall or the chair. If you're at the wall, you walk the hands down, the feet come out, and eventually you come to your angle that's comfortable. Rooting down through the feet. And then walking the hands or the feet back in to standing. Let's do that one just one more time. Walking the feet out. Noticing that range of motion in the shoulders as well as the hips and your forward fold. And coming back in. Okay, we're going to come back to seated for just a couple more poses. These poses you can either do sitting in your chair, or you can sit on the floor, like on a blanket or something, if that's comfortable. Okay. Go ahead and bring the arms out to like a T. And then, like you're hugging a beach ball, the arms are going to come closer and closer. That beach ball is getting smaller and smaller. And eventually you're going to have the arms cross. You can keep the arms out, or maybe it feels good to give yourself a little hug. And then the beach ball gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so with this movement, I want your focus to be on the shoulders. Notice how those shoulder blades glide across the back. You can come back in and out as you please. But when you come in, you can feel those shoulder blades coming away from the spine. And as you come out, the shoulder blades start to kiss towards the spine. And then you can play with the angle. So you don't have to be like perpendicular or to the floor. What's that? It's not perpendicular. I'm mind blanking here. But you can either go up at a higher angle with your beach ball, or you can go down low with your beach ball like a muscle man. And so you can get this whole range of motion in the shoulders, because your shoulders have that ball and socket joint to be able to go in that full circle rotation. So as you go in and out with that. Good. Eventually, finding your way to a resting seating pose, sitting pose. Parallel, that's the word. All right, it's been a day. Okay, we're gonna come into a little bit of a twist because we've done like a forward fold with the spine. We've done a side curl with the spine. So now we're gonna do a twist, and this is gonna allow even more freedom within the spine, okay? So I'm again coming up to the edge of my seat. Feet are planted on the ground, legs at that 90-degree angle. I'm gonna place my hands on my thighs because that's comfortable for me to rest my shoulders a little bit more relaxed there. And then I'm gonna twist towards the left. So as I twist towards the left, my head is gonna stay in alignment here. If it helps, you can have the hands, the fingertips resting on the chin too, so that the head stays there. We're gonna start to twist open towards the left. The left shoulder is coming back, right shoulder is coming forward. And then come back to center. I can do it both ways for you. Fingertips here so that the head stays neutral with the spine. Twisting towards the left so that the left shoulder goes back. The right shoulder comes forward. If you have your hands on your legs, it allows a little bit more freedom for the shoulders to twist. So as you bring the left shoulder back, you can pull that left shoulder back, send the right shoulder forward, and then we're going to consciously let the head twist over the left shoulder. So the left chin is going to guide back towards the left shoulder. And now you have more of a complete spinal twist. Head comes back to center first, and then the spine comes back to center. One more time with that. Left shoulder back, right shoulder forward. And maybe this time the right knee jets forward and the right hip comes forward, left hip comes back, looking over that left shoulder. So now you have the hips, spine, neck involved, and the shoulders, involved in this full spinal twist. Like you're trying to look in the rear mirror or look behind you. Come back with the head to center, spine, pelvis comes back. Okay, let's go to the other side a little bit and break that one down. So just moving the torso here. Left shoulder comes back, right shoulder comes forward, head stays at center with the spine. Good. One more time, left shoulder back, right shoulder forward, back to center. Okay, this time as you go back, left shoulder is gonna come back towards the spine, left shoulder is coming forward, and then you can take the head over the right shoulder. Looking behind you, come back to center. Head first, shoulders and torso follow. One more time with that. Left shoulder back, or right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. Looking over. Maybe the left knee comes out in front so that the left hip isn't forward. Right hip comes back with the right shoulder. You have the hips, the spine, and the shoulders involved in the twist. Come back to center. And then you can freely do it how it feels good in your body. If you want to go right to left just a little bit, just to be a little bit more curious in small ways. Or you can do like a free forming twist. Noticing where it feels good in the body and where maybe you need a little bit more attention. Taking a moment to come back to the breath here. That was a lot of work. Maybe close the eyes. Notice if the breath has shifted at all, or if you lost it. Coming back into that belly breath, down into the pelvic floor. Slowing it down. Let's come back into the shoulders and the neck that we did at the beginning of the practice. Just as a little bit of a check-in. And we'll start with the right side first this time. So you can go ahead and drop the right ear and lift the right shoulder up towards that ear. And then slowly, seeing if you can do it even slower than you did at the beginning of class, back down. Maybe you have a little bit more control. Doing that 3 or 4 times just on the right side. Choosing whether you keep the eyes open or closed. Whatever is easiest to tune into the body. And eventually, if you did 3 or 4, whatever feels good on the right side, you can go on over to the left, choosing between 3 to 6 times on this side. Finishing out this movement as you feel. And eventually we're gonna come onto our backs if you're comfortable with that. If you're not comfortable coming onto your back, you can stay seated. We're gonna just do a couple of movements and breath on the floor before we come into our final resting pose. So wherever you do your final rest, I guess, is where I would land now. Grabbing anything that you need to before you get to the floor. And so as you start to make your way onto your backs or a little bit more comfortable, I want you to place one hand on your belly, just a little bit lower than the belly button, and one hand on your chest. And as you do this, noticing where the breath falls and rises. And notice anything that you're holding on to. Is this anything that you're holding on to serving you to be your best self? Or is it something to let go of? Being honest with yourself, being trusting with yourself, and being loving with yourself. We're going to come into one final arch and flatten or cat-cow before we come into the rest. So wherever you're at, you can start to tilt the pelvis either into your arch or your flatten, whatever the body says. Eventually coming into the opposite direction and taking just a couple of those as you need to find the ease to rest here. Quieting the body down, quieting the mind even more. And as you go through the arch and flatten, if the body is asking for any more movements, you can feel free to do that. Otherwise, you can set yourself up completely for the final rest, whether that be legs bent, legs long, covered up with a blanket, lights off. However, you can start to make yourself relax. We have a good amount of time tonight for the final rest. And I take a good amount of time for this final rest each time because this rest is probably the most important part of the whole practice, in my opinion, because it allows the integration of everything that you just learned in your mind, your body, your soul, to really connect and land. And you start to make those connections in the nervous system to start to shift how we're feeling and how the body functions in this rest. So tonight I'll read you a meditation again and allow some time for a quiet rest before I bring you out of it. And so this meditation is called a loving kindness meditation. There are many different versions of this. It's an easy one that you can look up online. If you just want to listen to something on repeat. So as you start to settle in, relaxing the body, noticing how you feel in the body, noticing the warmth of the body, and start to feel a sense of kindness, a sense of loving. A natural feeling that is accessible to all of us. Resting with this feeling of open, unconditional love. So beginning now to wish yourself well by extending words of loving kindness to yourself. And offering these words in your mind for yourself. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I feel connected and calm. May I accept myself just as I am. May I be happy. And now you can open the circle of loving kindness by bringing to mind someone who is dear to you. Reflect on this person's basic goodness, sensing what it is in particular that you love about him or her. Saying in your mind these words to them. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you feel connected and calm. May you accept yourself just as you are. May you be happy. Now bring to mind a neutral person. This is someone you might see regularly, but you don't know well. It might be a neighbor or a grocery store clerk. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you feel connected and calm. May you accept yourself just as you are. May you be happy. Making your circle wider to your community. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you feel connected and calm. May you accept yourself just as you are. May you be happy. Now allow your awareness to open out in all directions. Yourself, a dear one, a neutral person, your community, and of all beings, humans, animals living everywhere. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Finally, bringing this kindness to yourself. Sitting for a while, basking in the energy of loving kindness that has been generated here. keeping this feeling of loving kindness in your heart, knowing that you are loved, and that you have so much love to give. Feeling the breath in the belly. And asking yourself, how can I start to move out of this session from lying here to move on with the rest of my night, my week? How can I start to move with this loving kindness and share this legacy? Moving the body gently when you're ready. Rolling to the side if you're on your back, resting there for a while until you come up to a seated position. Taking your time, moving slowly and consciously before we all meet in a seated position. Starting to rub the palms together when you're ready. Placing them over the ears. Over the eyes. And over the heart. Feeling the heartbeat, that loving kindness that you can give and receive as freely as you wish. I am so thankful for all of you and trying something new and letting me teach you these past weeks. Wish you all love, light, and happiness. Stay.